Okay, so hello, Paolo. My name is Sabrina.
I'm Thomas.
We are from PerMondo, and we're very, very thankful to you to have taken the time to answer our questions. Okay. So could you maybe briefly explain to us what your role is within your organization?
Yes, I'm the director of CIAI, so I am in charge for the organization of our work and basically everything. I report to the board of directors of CIAI, and who is elected by the General Assembly, CIAI Association, so it's composed by approximately 1,500 people.
Wow.
They elect a board of directors every 5 years. This board is in charge for the general strategic, for the general governance of the organization at the strategical and political level. And then there is the operational component of the organization, and I'm in charge for managing all the staffs and all our activities.
Okay, great. So in regard to the adaptation process, is inter-country adaptation to be understood like in a classic sense of adaptation, where a child is welcomed in a new home, in a new country? Or does it some of the work entail the sponsoring of a child to go to school or etc.?
We actually do both activities.
Okay.
Our association was born almost 50 years ago for the purpose of promoting inter-country adoption as a tool for protecting children who were abandoned by their biological parents for some reasons. So we're actually speaking about the process of giving a new family to a child where his or her own biological family is no longer capable for many different reasons of taking care of this child.
Okay, great.
And what countries do you work in? Is it mainly Africa or?
We work in several countries now. At present, around 11 or 12, and most of them are in Asia. We work in China, starting from east to west. We work in China, Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand, India, Afghanistan, Nepal. But also in Africa, we work in Ethiopia, Burkina Faso, Ivory Coast, and also in Colombia.
Okay.
And we also work in Italy, of course. And that's it. In the past, we have also worked in other countries, but this is where we work now. Of course, not in every country we do the same activities. Not everywhere we do inter-country adoptions, of course. Like in Afghanistan, for example, it's not possible to adopt children from Afghanistan.
Okay. And
the same way in China is very difficult to do international cooperation projects. So in every country we try to adapt our what we can bring, what we can do to the specific needs of the countries and to the opportunities that we have to operate. So our operations are very different from one country to another.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you need to adapt. I guess. Yeah.
And would you ever consider working in countries like Syria or Iraq or Libya, for example?
We always consider the possibility of expanding our actions. Wherever there is a need, we try to respond. We tend to look carefully at the concrete possibility for us to make a real difference in the context where we operate. And countries where there is an ongoing emergency are very difficult. And there is a big risk of just contributing to the general noise and not really to bring a useful contribution.
Yeah.
We don't have a specialization in emergency response, but for many reasons we might think that there is something useful that we can bring. So, for example, after the Haiti earthquake, we considered starting some operations in Haiti, but then we decided not to proceed because there were already too many organizations working there, and it would have been very difficult for us to do something useful.
Sure.
In Nepal, on the other hand, when there was the recent earthquake 1 year ago, even if we were not active at that time, we did have some good connections with local partners.
Okay.
So in that situation, we decided that we could go and we could start some projects in Nepal. So again, in every situation, we try to evaluate what are the risks and the opportunities for us and for the people we want to serve, so that we are sure, whenever we are not sure that we can bring the relevant contribution, we do not start any project.
Of course, yeah, makes sense.
And what kind of Italian families adopt children from abroad? Is there a typical profile of the families?
No, I wouldn't say that they are very different. Some characteristics they need to have in common is that they need to be very patient and very open to differences in general terms. We offer training to those families in order to improve their parenting skills and to provide them with some basic knowledge, but also to support them in building their capacities to be parents and to be parents of the child that comes with a different story. But they are all very different. They come from very different social, economical background. They come from very different regions in Italy. As you might know, people in Italy are very different.
Yes.
We are all a big diversity of persons and cultures and costumes and all you can have.
Yeah.
So there is not a standard profile, but yes, there must be some characteristics.
Okay. And how long does the adaptation process take?
It can take very long. It depends a lot on the procedures of the country of origin.
Okay.
It depends on some other factors that are very difficult to control and to forecast. So it can range from less than 1 year to up to more than 4 years, 5 years in some situations.
Okay.
So yes, it's a long process.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
And it is long in part for good reasons, which are all the efforts that are put by the country of origin in order to assure that all other possible measures to protect the child have been considered. So it is important that inter-country adoption is actually the last resort.
Yeah.
All the system tries to activate in order to respond to a need. At the same time, it is important that this time be the shortest as possible because the child is living out of a family. So, but it is very important not to rush for the easiest solution or what might appear as the easiest solution, because it is important to verify that all the steps have been followed. So to avoid the risk of trafficking or any other sort of abuse for these children.
Yeah. Wow.
And so you've worked recently with our organisation, PerMondo. What did that collaboration involve exactly?
It was about the translation of some documents that we have to structure our internal procedures from one side, and in the other case was a policy document that we need to regulate our procedure, but it's also something that we want everybody to know about child. And then more specifically, there were two documents. One was the security procedure for staff operating abroad, and the other document was the child protection policy that we recently defined. Working in a multicultural, multilingual environment, we need to translate. We have a great need in translating all the internal documents and external, communication material we have needs to be available to, all our staffs and our stakeholders in general in different languages. Yeah. So it is of great help for us to have the support in making these tools and instruments available to other people in different countries and different contexts. So,
okay. Yeah. And we want to give you the chance now to speak to the volunteers directly, because hopefully they will watch the video at one stage in their life. And so if you would like to, I don't know, how would you like to acknowledge their work, or how would you like to thank them? You have the word. You can just speak out to them directly.
So thank you very much for the work that you have done. It might seem difficult to understand what is the real impact of a cold document on the life of any person, but it actually has an impact. So because it helps our organization in doing a better job, and our job is to help children to have a better life. So your contribution has a direct impact on the life of children in the world, the children we work with. So it is very important. And specifically, those documents, and one of them in particular, the child protection policy, is extremely important because it gives us our internal rules and procedure in order to assure that every child that is involved with our activities has the adequate protection from any sort of abuse. This is very important, and it's a worry that we have constantly, because it's important that every child feels safe and is aware of the rights that they have while joining our activities. Yeah. So by translating these documents, you have contributed to making more children aware of their rights and giving them the way to be themselves the first who can protect their rights. And so this is really a great contribution to our work. Our work is made by the contribution of many people that, in a way or another, support the organization to achieve our mission, and your contribution is one of those important elements that help us every day in helping children.
Wow. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.